Yep.
Alright, Trailnecks, welcome to the channel. Thank you very much for watching. First, let me say, for all of our subscribers, we appreciate every single one of you. We enjoy doing this for a hobby, and getting some information and videos of our rides out to you guys is something that we truly enjoy. So, behind me I've got, it's a little dirty, but that's how they're supposed to be. I've got my 2019 XP1000 Highlifter Edition, also known as Hellraiser. And I absolutely love the thing. I've done a few mods to it, but nothing too outrageous. It's perfect the way it is. I don't have to do anything else to it, but today I've got a little bit of a surprise here. So today I'm taking my Razor from stock to Stage 3 with Evolution Power Sports. These guys are absolutely amazing. Shout out to everybody there. Their customer service has been phenomenal. I ordered these parts back in July. They told me some of it was going to be a little bit behind due to all the coronavirus stuff going on, but they were more than upfront. They kept giving me information, and I've had the parts now for about a month, but with the way that I work, unfortunately I haven't been able to get to installing them. However, today we've got our Magnum slip-on exhaust, orange to match the Razor, our intake, and our ECU. Now, I went the route of getting a brand new ECU and having them program it. You can take yours out and send it to them, and they'll reflash it and program it and send it back to you. I went the route of having a extra ECU in the event, say next year I want to buy a 4-seater. Well, if I buy a 2019 4-seat XP1000 Highlifter, I can take mine back to stock, stock exhaust, stock air cleaner, stock ECU, take this off and use it for the new 4-seater. We'll see how all that goes, but that's something that I'm looking at down the road. So I've been trying to find a place locally here in Michigan that has a dyno I could put the machine on. I really wanted to put it on a dyno, get some numbers, then do the mod to Stage 3 and get more numbers. Unfortunately, that didn't quite work out. I haven't found a place that either has one available in the time slot that I have available, or just has one in general that will work on a XP1000 Razor. So what we're going to do today is I got some land out back, and I'm going to do a couple laps. I got my dad behind the camera, shout out to Pops. He's going to use the camera as well as my phone and get some lap times. We'll do some lap times with it stock, and then we'll come back, do the mod, and get some lap times with it at Stage 3. The one thing I want to do though before we get started, because now's the time to do it, I'm going to fire up the machine and let you guys get a good sound of what the stock exhaust sounds like, and then once we get everything modded, I'll let you guys get a good sound of this. I've seen it in videos, it looks amazing, the reviews are amazing on it, but this will be the first time for me as well getting to hear it first person. Alright, so I'm going to start the Razor right now, and we'll go from there. it's a little, you know, it's not the greatest track. It's hard to take the same lines. We don't ride it all the time. It's, you know, just property that it's not ours, but we're allowed to kind of play on a little bit as long as we don't tear it up too much. So now I'm going to give you a rundown of what we got going. So the ECU is located back here, in case you've never changed one. Behind your driver's seat, which they just pop out. You got this little panel right here. And as you can tell, I've rode it pretty hard, so the ECU is a little dirty. But we'll get those connectors off here in a little bit, and I'm going to disconnect the battery just for safety's sake. And air filter, well, we all know where that lives. And then the video of the change on the exhaust will happen here in a minute. I'm going to let her cool down for maybe 5-10 minutes. It didn't get too hot with just those 3 runs, but still, safety first. I don't want to end up burning myself. So we'll be back with you guys here momentarily.
Alright guys, so for this part of the video, Sheamus accidentally left on his radio in the background. So for about the next minute or two, I'm going to tell you what he's doing and give you a little, you know, lowdown on what he's actually doing here. He's talking about, first, the O2 sensor. He went ahead and disconnected it so that whenever you start removing your O2 sensor, that you can just twist it out and not worry about messing up your wiring for that. And now he's talking about the heat shield, the plastic on it. It uses the Torx Bix, the T30s. You know, it's always a pain in the butt to use those things, but that's what Polaris went with. So that's what we got to work with.
And as you can see, it doesn't appear from the factory they put much, if any, anti-seize on there. I've got anti-seize for all of the bolts that go back on. That way, down the line, like I said, if I do end up with a 4-seater, it's just a matter of, you know, changing everything back out. So I've already broken these bolts. These retaining springs here are loose. And then the key here, come around to the other side, and these are very important you don't lose them, and they can be a real pain to get off. You have a spring down here for the lower and a spring up top. So I'm going to have to get up and probably reposition the camera and everything, but and that right there, guys, is why these can be a pain. They're pretty tight from the factory, and takes a little bit to get them out. So we got the old exhaust off. It's down here. I had to stop the camera. We were having a little bit of an issue with getting the top spring off. But we got them off. They're still here. Like I said, that's one of the hardest parts of this job is these springs. They're pretty tight from the factory. So we're getting ready to put the Evolution Power Sports Magnum slip-on on. One thing is these little brackets here, I've already got them broken free. That's where the stock heat shield mounts to. The Evolution Power Sports exhaust has the heat shield actually mounted to the muffler itself. So we can omit these and just clean up the back aesthetically. Like I said, I keep all of my off-unit parts just because if I decide later on that I want to go back to stock to sell the machine or whatever the case may be. Alright, so we're back. Yet again, I did stop the video again. Springs again were just being a real pain. And they can be that way. You read a lot of reviews. It doesn't matter the exhaust system you're using, whether you're using Gibson, you know, Evolution Power Sports. That's the hardest part of the job is those springs. So we got those on. We did omit the upper and lower heat shield brackets that the stock Polaris plastic heat shield mount to. So now we're ready to put it back together. I've got both of our retaining bolts and springs. I did put anti-seize on them. It's just a good practice to use. Normally when I'm using anti-seize in a higher temperature area, with the industry I work in, I like to use nickel-based anti-seize. However, I didn't have any this time, so got some fresh copper-based high temp from your local auto store. It works just as good. I mean, it's good up to 1600 degrees. So if the exhaust on this razor ever gets to 1600 degrees, I've got more issues than the fact that I didn't have high enough temp anti-seize on it. The retaining bolts for the exhaust are 14 millimeter. Yet again with Polaris, between the Torx bits, everything also is metric on these. If you don't have one, if you do have one, I'm sure you're more than aware. The one nice thing is I haven't come across anything that's 10 millimeter yet, which is good because anybody in mechanics knows that the 10 millimeter socket is the one you can never find. You can be using it and 5 minutes later it's grown legs and walked away. Now that we got those tightened down all the way, last thing here is our O2 sensor, which yet again I've already got anti-seize on the threads of that. Now when you order these from Evolution Power Sports, the exhaust muffler itself will come with a little adapter. Depending on the year of your machine, you may need to use the adapter for your O2 sensor. And then on my machine, the 2019, I did not have to use it, so you'll have to take that apart. These, you don't got to get them over tight. Got that clipped down. Now I'll go through and re-zip tie these. Alrighty. Now we've got the exhaust done. Next thing we've got is the air filter. So size-wise, the Evolution Power Sports is no bigger or smaller than your stock one. They just breathe a lot better. So we'll go ahead and throw this on here. No, don't use a chair. It's not the safest bet, but it's what I got, so that's what I'm using. That just slides on, and we'll throw our filter box back on. Now we're on to really the most expensive part of this if you're buying a brand new ECU. It's not as bad if you're sending yours off. It's about half the price. But this ECU, one of the big things that I like about their tune, there's a lot of the things that they program this for are better than stock. But one of the things that I really like is, as you can see with my machine, I don't miss too many mud holes. And this drops the stock fan on temp from around 100 or 210 degrees to 190 and some change. So while you're out on the trails, it's just going to give you a little bit more cooling before you got to worry about stopping and going somewhere and cleaning out your radiator so you get better airflow. But these, they go on pretty easy. They just push on, and then as you bring the lock down, it'll snap into place. And that's them. Now you do have 4 little mounting torque screws that go back on that I have sitting up here. All right, that's together. Cover back on. I will hook the battery back up and be back with you guys in a minute. Alright guys, so we're done with the Stage 3 mod. Air filters installed, intake, the ECU is installed, and the muffler is installed. As you guys saw in the beginning of the video, before we went out and got the times, we did a little bit of a sound check. So we're going to do the same thing now that we've got the Magnum slip-on exhaust on. So here we go. Sound alone, it sounds mean. I've seen the videos on it and I thought they sounded awesome. The video doesn't do it justice. The sound you get in person when you're in this thing and you're sitting at 5,000 RPMs is just phenomenal. We're going to go out, take it back in the back and get some times with it and see what we get. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of a change. Obviously doing laps, it's not the most scientific way, but it works for the rednecks like us, and hopefully we'll see a little bit of a drop in times. We'll be back with you guys in just a bit. When I come around, start your phone, alright?
Okay, let her go. makes you dust that off. All right. Well, at first glance, I can tell you it seems to go. When you put that throttle down when you're stopped, it just wants to go. But I will say, you know, even though the times aren't scientific, man, it was worth every penny. It sounds a lot better. It's going to breathe a lot better. I heard the fan kick on at 194, so you know, that's a lot better than where it was before. That'll keep us cooler on the trails, cooler in the mud. And like I said, shout out to the guys at Evolution Power Sports. If you are looking for any type of power sports mods, whether you're looking for side-by-sides, even roadworthy vehicles, give them a look. The guys are super friendly. I couldn't recommend them enough. And if you like what you see, if you like any of our videos, hit subscribe. Like I said earlier, we appreciate from the bottom of our heart everybody that subscribes. Shoot us comments too if there's something you'd like us to do, or you know you think we could do better. We're always looking for feedback and to grow as not only content producers, but you know, grow in the community of outdoors. So like I said, we appreciate everything, and hopefully we'll see you out on the trails, and there's more to come from the Trailnecks. Have a good day.